Welcome to the Remember Your Nature podcast. My name is Faith Corbin, and I felt an undeniable pull to come and record, and I'm learning how to trust that pull, to trust that intuition. And it's 8 o'clock in the morning. I've just had my first sip of water. My room is a mess. My sheets are in the oven. My sheets are in the dryer. And I have laundry that needs to be folded. I have things that need to be unpacked. Things that need to be done. And this morning I'm practicing noticing when my energy immediately goes to my head and kind of like my third eye center. And there I start to worry about future. I start to worry about money, and it's very subtle, the things that I have to do. But I've been working on remembering that, okay, these are just my head inside thoughts, especially when I wake up and I'm transitioning from deep sleep and relaxation. And can I travel down into my lower body? And what does it feel there? And this morning I was brushing my teeth, paying my attention to my feet on the cold tiles of my bathroom floor, and my lower body. I'm on day 4 of my menstrual cycle, and a lot has happened. A lot has been transmuted. A lot has been experienced in the external world, and I feel that it is important to share. This bleed, I had a desire to go camping and fast in the woods for like 2 to 3 days. Fasting because I knew my body was craving some more restriction, some more space to be able to digest, to be able to move through all of the things that has been put into it. And camping alone, because I've been with all of my loved ones. I'm constantly around all of my loved ones, and having time alone felt right, felt good. So during my last cycle, that's what I was really desiring. And my intention for fasting and camping in the woods too was to continue to put myself in uncomfortable situations and find peace. So my bleed came 3 days early. And when I woke up and I was bleeding, I knew, okay, I'm going to have to go. So I started packing up all of my things. And when I started to do that, I started to feel a lot of mental resistance to doing it. Because I spent a lot of time allowing myself to fully let go and rest on my bleed. And I believe this is really important. This is a really important skill, to be able to allow ourselves to let go, to say no, and to actually grieve so much, to extricate our work or our worth from our work and what we do. Because it's not that we, don't love ourselves and don't want to take care of ourselves maybe, but we feel unable to let go and feel that we really need to just continue working, continuing doing something. So all of that being said, I formed this identity around resting, while I bleed. And I'm so glad because it's made me really look at the stories that have shown me that, that I'm not worthy of completely letting go and attaching my worth to what I do. But who I learned a lot of my menstrual knowledge from, they completely stop everything when they bleed. And they don't talk to anyone as much as possible. They come completely in their bleed cave. And I kind of took on that teaching and tried to make it mine. And I became identified with, well, I'm bleeding, so I just don't want to do anything. I can't. And that created some limitations for me because I'm realizing that it's not that I can't. And I feel that this is kind of my wounding within myself. Like, oh, it's too much. I can't. It's too much. I can't. It's like this. It's this like, oh, this overwhelming, almost giving up energy. I can't. And I'm coming to understand that it's not that I can't. Of course, we can do anything. We're strong, resilient. I am strong and I am resilient. But it's that, should I? And I also realize more nuance. It's not that I just need 4 or 5 days to rest, but it's that during this time, I have the agency of choice. I can choose what it is that I feel called to do, whether that's rest and lay in bed all day, or that's going and camping and looking for insight and praying. So when I was packing in the morning, I was feeling this resistance of meeting the fear. I'm meeting my own edge of getting out of my comfort zone because it was cold. It was cold. It was one of the coldest days here. I'm in Florida. It was like 29 degrees, or I don't know, like 40 degrees during the day, and it was getting below freezing at night. And I have such a wonderful, comfortable, safe home with a roommate who loves me deeply and I love deeply. Lots of food. I don't have to go out and do this. But it was an edge because I wanted to, because I felt I was given a vision. I was given a strong intention and desire to follow this thing, and I knew that I had to obey it. So in the process of obeying, I was meeting my edge, and I had to grieve. I really was crying when I was packing up, and also extending the timeline and having compassion for myself. Allow myself to go slow. Allowing the packing to take the time that it takes, and knowing that it's not just when I arrive at the my elder's land and set up camp that's the big spiritual experience. It's actually like in every single step in the journey there can be profound lessons to really be present with. And so, yes, I'm following the vision, I'm following the mission, I'm obeying, and I'm also honoring the slowness that I need. So I packed slowly, and in that process, allowed myself to process my emotions. I had a desire to fast when I started bleeding, and I was fasting, and I wasn't going to eat. But then I realized that eating a little something would serve me in the process of using a lot of energy to get a lot of things together, set up camp, go drive, all the things. And during this time when I was packing and emoting, my sweet roommate came up to me and gave me a hug out of support, and that felt nice. But I realized that what I needed in this moment and in this experience is that to call upon my own and draw upon my own inner strength. And I asked him, can you please just look me in the eye and tell me that I got this? And he did, with such sincerity and genuineness. And so I was patient with myself and present with myself and compassionate with myself that I have an intention, I have a vision and a knowing that, and I'm trusting that, and I'm going after that, and I'm meeting myself. And I need to meet myself. And I was sitting on the toilet, just like, okay, like this is the process of meeting myself. I'm meeting myself. This is what I have to do. So I packed up all my things. It took a few hours. I was also having cramps, and I also was trying not to, I had to just be in my body. And then I drove there, called my sister, and was telling her about all of my resistances and the journey that I was on. And she reflected support and love, and that ultimately trusting myself is enough. So I got to the land, and I'm noticing fear and hesitation come up in this moment, some discomfort in my heart, and sharing this, practicing sharing my story without trying to be so sensational, sharing my story, sharing what's true for me. Mm. And I was in this energy of feeling a little bit downtrodden, a little bit overwhelmed. Like I have something that I want, I have this intention, but there's a part of me that is having resistance to it, isn't allowing myself to fully receive it, and so is therefore having a little bit of resentment or just like, you know? And when I got to the land, I immediately went to our tree that we have ceremony around, just laid there and allowed myself to relax, because the truth is that I know with this vision and intention, there is an ability to be able to enjoy this. There's a reason why that this intention is here. It's not for me to suffer. It's not for me to have a horrible time. It's for me to learn how to take pleasure in and trust this experience, because I want to grow, to be able to enjoy the growth. I texted some people about what I was doing and asking for their prayers and support, and one was one of my elders, my female elder. And I was about to get there, and nothing was set up, no tent, anything. And I was going to sit with cannabis, because cannabis is a really profound medicine for me. And when I'm in a frustrated, ruminating mind state, when I can sit with cannabis, it really helps me lower into my body and helps me move through and resolve the things that are happening within me, so that I may be able to further harmonize with my immediate environment. And so in that way, it is a really powerful medicine for me. And when I was walking through the land, I walked past these blue wind chimes next to the chicken coop. And they sounded so gorgeous. And I was just like, I just want to like lay down under these chimes and completely surrender to this sound. And so that's what I was going to do. However, there was this part of me that felt like I needed to take action to support myself in my immediate environment to set myself up and support myself so that I may relax into my experience, which was setting up my camp and putting in the effort to set up my tent, to put up all the things. I created an altar, brought all my stuff from my altar, brought all my journals and my art supplies and my hammock and all the things. And the feminine aspect of me, wanted to just surrender and to be with the medicine and to just be with the lessons. However, I still had to take responsibility for setting myself up and supporting myself. And so I was going to do that. I was going to my car I was going to just smoke and sit under those chimes. But then I got to my car and then I checked my text and it was from my elder. And she was like, and I trust that you are going to sit with the discernment of the timing of things. And receiving that text completely shifted something within me. And that was the timing of things. Okay. The desire is enough. The intention is enough. I have a desire. And there is a certain way that desire weaves into my experience. The action towards fulfilling that desire has to fit into the way of harmony with this immediate moment. And seeing that text, I was like, the timing of things, it's going to come, but it just doesn't have to come right now. Maybe there is something else that I need to do that is going to prepare me to be able to experience even riper fruit. So I decided that even though I was having cramps and I was just I feel like I can just do it later, I set up my camp. And in the process of setting up my camp, it wasn't oh, I have to do this. I was trying to muscle and force my way so that I can get to the thing that I wanted. But I really used it as an exercise of presence to allow myself to go slow and to lose track of time, to not try to be perfect or efficient, but to just messily be in my body and to fulfill this goal that I have, which is to set up my camp. And as I was present with that, and I allowed that to be a journey, I gained so much insight and so much healing from that. And I made it nice. I set up my tent and made an altar space, made a little meditation space. It was cold. Had all my blankets, set up my hammock, and gave myself that peace. Gave myself that act of love to support myself and to trust that the things that I want will come in time. And supporting myself through the entire process feels like the most loving thing that I can do. So I made myself some tea, and I sat down in front of my altar after all that was done. And then I sat with my cannabis and smoked a little of this joint that I got at a dispensary called Mother Exotic. And I got it because it was titled Mother. And sat with that. It was cold. And so I went on a journey of keeping myself warm, being in my body, walking around, dancing. And it was really powerful to have the intensity of the cold around me because it just felt like I couldn't just give up and get comfortable, That there were lessons that needed to be learned by sustaining my energy in this cold. So I walked in circles just to stay warm. I kept the energy moving, and I feel like throughout this entire process, I was really fathering myself, coaching myself, and speaking to myself gently. The parts of me that want to shut down, the parts of me that want to give up, the parts of me that want to just become comfortable again. Can I look at her and speak to her? And I was speaking to her, hey, like, I see you, and I see your desire to be comfortable. I see your desire to be warm. And this is just not the situation that we're in right now. And it will really serve for the energy to keep on moving. I know you just want to lay down in your tent right now, but the sun hasn't even gone down yet. And if you lay down in your tent, you're not going to want to get up. And there are things that you want to do, that you need to do to support yourself and to make this experience more enjoyable. My experience would be more enjoyable if I stay warm. And if I just give up and become freezing like an icicle, I'm going to suffer more. So putting in more effort in sustaining that will actually make you enjoy the experience much more. So I kept on walking and I kept on keeping myself warm. And eventually I ended up by our ceremony grounds, and this was under the full moon on Imbolc. The full moon was rising, and a song came to me as I was there in that energy underneath the moon. And maybe you could just imagine the situation, imagine the portrait, the landscape on ceremony grounds, sacred grounds, surrounded by tall pines. But there's space, and in the space is an aniti, which is the bones of a Native American sweat lodge, which is a dome made up of bent willow branches. And outside of that, a fire pit, a big fire pit, with large stones around it that are used for the fire. Our elders, grandmothers and grandfathers who are holding the wisdom for us as we warm up the rocks and put them in the NEP to hear what they have to say. And in the middle of that, an altar. But all these out of commission. No ceremony happening. But the bones there. The memory and the impression there. And then the forgiveness tree. Big oak tree. Surrounded by a circle. Within it, prayer ties. A land that has received me for years now. A land that has seen me. There was one moment where I put my forehead down to the earth and was filled with such childlike joy, because I realized that the beings on that land look upon me with nothing but unconditional love, and that they love me as a grandchild. You would never judge a grandchild. You don't judge a child for being messy and imperfect and learning and developing. You see that child as a child. So this is where I'm at, and it's still, quiet. I'm alone. The full moon is coming up. That luminous glow. Winter. A song came through. So I'll insert that here for you to listen to. I ain't got nothing to prove. got nothing to prove. I ain't got nothing to prove. I ain't got nothing to prove. I didn't even think about it before it came through. Then I looked at the tree and I just had this moment of seeing the tree and just feeling love, presence, and peace. And then immediately had some thought that was inhibiting that feeling of love and peace. And then another thing came through, more of a spoken word this time, considering what if things could just be good? I'll insert that here. What if I was just allowed to feel peace? What if it didn't have to be strange or suspicious? What if I was allowed to feel joy? What if things could just be good? What if they could be okay? What if there wasn't a huge tragedy underway? What if it was just here and now, the fullness and the beauty of it? What if it was just allowed to be okay? What if it was just allowed to be okay? What if I was allowed to feel peace? Peace as a default. Peace as the norm. What if I was allowed to feel peaceful about my imperfection? Peaceful about the way I'm moving forward. Peaceful about the things I like and don't. Peaceful about how others express on their own journey. What if I was allowed to feel peaceful with goodness, with warmth, with joy, with winter, cold, with tightness, and pain, and contraction? What if I was just allowed to be okay? What if I was just allowed to be okay? And so the energy was moving within me, and I was allowing what needed to be spoken through me to come up. And it felt good. I hadn't given up. I'm learning how to harmonize with the present, with the colds, with my immediate experience bleeding all over this land. And then I went back, and my last thing that I really wanted to do was make a little fire. So I did. I, raked an area. I gathered some logs, some leaves, and made a little fire. And I sat by the fire, and I brought my book to read. But as I really fostered that fire, I just was so mesmerized by it. Only thing I wanted to do was sit there and look at it, watch as it burned, and then watched as it went down, and then watched as I needed to get up and take action to foster it again, to fan the flame, watch as it went down again, and me having no fight about that, but allowing it to just die, and then trusting the timing of things. So the fire died, and it was cold, and it was bedtime. I put out the fire, went back to my car, put on so many different layers, brushed my teeth. And then I went back to my tent, laid down, and remembered I ain't got nothing to prove. And I was laying down there in my sleeping bag, really like cold and stiff. And I was like, I could just tough it out and lay out here and try to sleep out here until like just have another day. But then I realized that I've received everything I need. I've received everything that I was looking for here in this experience, because what I needed was to just show up, was to show myself that I'll move past my edges, I'll move past my resistance, and I will take the necessary action to actualize a vision, to obey what I feel that I need. And that is exactly what I did. I was present and patient, and I allowed things to take the time that they take. I gained insight. I fasted. And so staying out here for 2 more days in the cold, fasting for 2 more days in the cold, I just don't really feel like I need that. And so I was like, yep. I got out of my tent and I left everything there and I drove home. It was like 25 minutes away. And then I just like said hi to my roommate and took a bath. And yeah, it got really warm and comfy. Yeah, and feeling truly satisfied. That there isn't anything that I have to prove to anyone, to prove my strength, to prove that I'm a warrior, to prove that I can do hard things. Who am I trying to prove it to? Because I've done all those things. But forcing myself past what I need, forcing myself to prove myself when I've already shown that I am capable and that I am resilient and that I can remain strong and positive in the face of stress, like that's enough. And I also deserve nourishment. I also deserve warmth. I also deserve love. I also deserve pleasure. And I can fully enjoy that too. That feels like the spiritual work as well. Yeah, and there's been a lot of other lessons that have come up and after that. Namely grief and understanding a lot of things about myself. But I share this experience because this is my embodiment. This is how I embody my lessons. Not just understanding intellectually, but allowing the curriculum and the lessons of my own life to change me and to transform me, to using the stuff of my immediate experience, of my own path, of my own life, what makes sense to me, and allowing that to transform me. I ain't got nothing to prove. Keep on experimenting. And what if the things that we desire, the things, the visions that we gain, they don't have to be so scary, because we can show up and try and go home. Imagine when you're a child and there's something that you want to do. You want to go see a friend. You want to experience something new. You want to learn how to swim. Whatever. It's new. It's scary. It may be scary. You never experienced it before. But there's a part of you that knows that if you do this thing, that you'll grow and it'll be exciting, and you'll learn new things, and you'll develop. So there's a truly innate desire. But what if? What happens? And your parent looks at you and says, "Baby, you have got this. You can do this. Hey, I see that there's a little bit of fear there, and that's normal. That's human. You've never done it before. And just know that, you can go and you can try, and I'm always here. If you want to go home, you can. If you want to leave, I'll pick you up." But you have everything you need to at least try and to see what happens. And who knows? Maybe it'll be the best thing you've ever done. So I leave this here with you. Much love.